Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You can't wait for motivation to strike. You can't sit around hoping that one day you'll feel like it. You've got to force yourself to be active day by day. That's the secret. Success doesn't come to people who wait. When it comes to self-discipline, it's not something that comes naturally for most people. It's not a gift you're born with. It's a skill you build, one decision at a time. Self-discipline is the backbone of progress, the quiet engine behind every success story you've ever heard. Think about it. Every successful person you look up to, every individual who has achieved greatness, started with the same 24 hours in a day that you have. The difference? They chose discipline over comfort, consistency over convenience, and effort over excuses. Self-discipline begins with a decision, your decision. It's the moment you decide that you're going to take control of your life, no matter how small the steps might seem at first. It's waking up in the morning and saying, today, I'm going to do one thing that moves me closer to my goals. That one thing could be as simple as reading a chapter of a book, writing down a plan, or going for a walk. It might not seem like much in the moment, but those small actions, repeated day after day, compound into something extraordinary. But let's not sugarcoat this. It's hard. Discipline means doing what you need to do even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when you'd rather hit the snooze button. It's putting in extra work when everyone else has called it a day. It's choosing to stick to your commitments, even when your emotions tell you to take the easy way out. That's why discipline isn't something that just happens. It's a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through consistent effort. You might think, but what about motivation? Isn't that what drives success? Motivation is great when it's there, but let me tell you something. It's unreliable. Motivation is like a spark. It might get you started, but it's not going to keep the fire burning. Discipline is the fuel. It's what keeps you going when the spark dies out, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when nothing seems to be working. Motivation might inspire you to begin, but discipline is what ensures you'll finish. Here's the thing about discipline, it's not glamorous. It's not the part people see on social media. No one is going to post a picture of the late nights, the early mornings, or the hours spent grinding when no one's watching. But that's where the magic happens. That's where character is built. When you force yourself to show up, even on the hard days, you're not just building habits, you're building yourself. Let me give you an example. Think about an athlete training for a marathon. They don't wake up every day excited to run. Some days their legs are sore, the weather's terrible, or they're just not in the mood. But they lace up their shoes and hit the pavement anyway. Why? Because they've trained themselves to act based on their goals, not their feelings. That's self-discipline. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. It's about doing it because you know it needs to be done. And here's the beautiful thing about discipline. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. It's like climbing a hill. The first steps are the hardest because you're working against gravity, against your old habits and comfort zones. But as you keep going, you build momentum, you start to see progress, and that progress fuels your confidence. You realize, hey, I can do this. And before you know it, what once felt impossible becomes a part of your daily routine. Self-discipline is the key to unlocking your potential. It's what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about showing up every single day and choosing to give it your best, It's a commitment to yourself, a promise that you won't let temporary feelings dictate your long-term goals. And when you embrace that, when you truly understand the power of self-discipline, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Let's talk about the value of humor and personal stories when it comes to connecting with others and driving a point home. You see, humor isn't just about making people laugh. It's about breaking down barriers. It's the great equalizer, something that makes you relatable, approachable, and real. When you can make someone laugh, you've created a bond, even if just for a moment. And that connection is where real communication begins. See, I know that the best way, to communicate, people don't always remember facts, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And humor has a unique way of leaving a lasting impression. Now, here's the thing. Life is full of ups and downs, and sometimes the best way to deal with those downs is to find the funny in them. Personal stories, especially the ones where you've stumbled, failed, or made a fool of yourself, are gold mines for humor. Why? Because they're real. They show that you're human, just like everyone else. When you can laugh at yourself, you not only disarm others, but you also take away the power that failure or embarrassment might hold over you. It's a reminder that nobody has it all together, and that's okay. Let me give you an example. I remember one time when I was just starting out in my career, and I had this big opportunity to speak in front of an important audience. I thought I was ready. I had my notes. I had rehearsed, and I walked on stage feeling like I had it all figured out. And then I tripped. Not just a little stumble, I mean full-on face plant in front of everybody. The room went silent. For a split second, I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. But then I got up, dusted myself off, grabbed the mic and said, well, now that I've broken the ice, literally, let's get started. The whole room erupted in laughter. That moment, which could have been a disaster, turned into one of the most memorable parts of the event. It wasn't because I had the perfect speech. It was because I showed them I wasn't afraid to laugh at myself. Humor also has this amazing way of making tough lessons more palatable. Sometimes the truth is hard to hear, and people naturally put up walls when they feel like they're being lectured or judged. But when you deliver a hard truth with a little humor, those walls come down. It's like sneaking vegetables into a dish that tastes amazing. They don't even realize they're getting something good for them because they're too busy enjoying the flavor. That's the power of humor. It lets you say, hey, I've been there too, in a way that doesn't feel heavy or confrontational. Personal stories, especially when paired with humor, are also a way to show your journey and your growth. People love stories because they're relatable. They see themselves in your experiences, your struggles, and your triumphs. When you share where you've been, it gives them hope for where they can go. It's not about bragging or putting yourself on a pedestal. It's about saying, I've been in the trenches just like you, and here's what I've learned. And if you can make them laugh along the way, that's even better. The beauty of using humor and personal stories is that they don't have to be perfect. In fact, the imperfections are what make them work. Nobody connects with someone who seems flawless or untouchable. But when you're real, when you let people see the messy, imperfect, funny parts of your journey, they feel like they're not alone. They see that success isn't about having it all together. It's about showing up, laughing at the setbacks, and pushing forward anyway. So when you think about making an impact, remember that humor and personal stories aren't just tools, they're bridges. They're how you reach people, inspire them, and remind them that no matter where they are in life, they're not alone. And in that connection, there's incredible power. Small, consistent actions are the building blocks of any significant achievement in life. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that progress has to be dramatic or immediate. But the truth is that the most impactful changes happen gradually through persistence and repetition. Every great accomplishment starts with small, often overlooked steps. It's not the grand gestures or the big leaps that define success. It's the steady rhythm of showing up day after day and doing the work even when it feels mundane or insignificant. Consistency is underrated because it's not flashy. There's nothing glamorous about waking up early every day to exercise, practicing a skill for hours when no one's watching, or putting aside distractions to focus on a long-term goal. But those are the actions that separate the people who merely dream about success from those who achieve it. The truth is, success is built in the quiet moments, in the repetition of small efforts that seem unimportant at first, but compound over time. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. At first, there's nothing to see, just soil. Day after day, you water it, tend to it, and protect it from weeds or pests. For a long time, it seems like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, growth is taking place. Roots are spreading, and the foundation is being laid for something extraordinary. Then, one day, a sprout breaks through the ground, and eventually that tiny seed becomes a thriving plant or a towering tree. The same principle applies to your goals. The small actions you take every day are like watering that seed. They may not produce immediate results, but over time, they lead to growth that's both visible and enduring. It's also important to understand that consistency doesn't mean perfection. You're gonna have days when you slip up or fall short, and that's okay. What matters is that you don't let those moments derail your progress. Think of it like brushing your teeth. If you miss a day, your teeth won't fall out. But you don't just stop brushing altogether. You get back on track the next day and keep going. The same principle applies to any goal or habit. Missing a day or making a mistake doesn't erase your progress. It's the pattern of consistent effort over time that counts. One of the biggest challenges with small, consistent actions is that they can feel boring or even pointless in the moment. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification, where people want results now, not later. But the most meaningful accomplishments take time. Think about someone who wants to learn to play the piano. At first, they might struggle to play even the simplest tunes. It's frustrating, and the progress feels slow. But if they practice every day, even for just a few minutes, they'll eventually reach a point where they can play beautiful, complex pieces effortlessly. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of countless hours of practice and dedication. Another key aspect of small, consistent actions is that they build habits. And habits are what drive long-term change. When you commit to doing something every day, it becomes a part of your routine, a part of who you are. Over time, it takes less effort to maintain because it's no longer something you have to think about. It's automatic. That's the power of consistency. It allows you to build momentum, and once you have momentum, progress becomes easier and more natural. Let me give you a personal example. There was a time in my life when I felt stuck, like I wasn't moving forward. I had big goals, but I wasn't making any real progress toward them. Then I decided to focus on one small action each day. It didn't have to be anything grand, just something that moved me a little closer to where I wanted to be. Some days it was making a phone call I'd been avoiding. Other days it was spending 15 minutes learning something new. At first it didn't feel like much, but over time those small actions added up. Before I knew it, I was in a completely different place, both personally and professionally. Small, consistent actions may not feel exciting, but they are powerful. They create a ripple effect that leads to exponential growth over time. When you embrace this mindset, you realize that progress isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every day. And in the end, those small steps can take you further than you. Taking responsibility for your energy and focus is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in life. Too often people drift through their days blaming circumstances, other people, or even bad luck for their lack of progress. But the truth is, you are in control of how you show up every day. Your energy is a resource, and how you manage it directly affects your ability to stay focused, productive, and engaged. If you don't take ownership of it, you'll find yourself at the mercy of distractions, excuses, and wasted time. Let's start with energy. Energy isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and even spiritual. It's what fuels everything you do. And while you might not always feel full of energy, you can choose how you spend the energy you do have. Think about it like a bank account. Each day you wake up with a limited amount of energy, and every action, decision, or interaction you have, spend some of it. If you waste it on things that don't matter, like scrolling on social media, worrying about things you can't control, or indulging in negativity, you'll run out of energy before you get to the things that really matter. The key is to be intentional about how you use your energy. Start by identifying your priorities. What are the things that truly matter to you? What activities, people, or goals deserve your focus? Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to direct your energy where it will have the greatest impact. That might mean saying no to things that don't align with your priorities. It might mean cutting back on distractions or setting boundaries with people who drain you. It's not always easy, but it's necessary if you want to make meaningful progress. Now, let's talk about focus. Focus is your ability to direct your attention to what matters most. And in today's world, it's harder than ever to maintain. We're surrounded by distractions, our phones, social media, emails, notifications. If you're not careful, your day can disappear in a blur of meaningless activity. But focus is a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed. It starts with being present. When you're working on something important, give it your full attention. Turn off distractions, clear your space, and commit to being in the moment. It's amazing how much you can accomplish when you're fully focused. One of the biggest obstacles to both energy and focus is multitasking. A lot of people think they're being productive by juggling multiple tasks at once, but the truth is, multitasking divides your attention and makes it harder to do anything well. When you switch between tasks, your brain has to refocus each time, and that wastes energy. Instead, try to work on one thing at a time. Give it your best effort, finish it, and then move on to the next thing. You'll not only get more done, but you'll also feel less overwhelmed. Taking responsibility for your energy and focus also means being mindful of what you consume. This includes the food you eat, the information you take in, and even the people you spend time with. Junk food, negativity, and toxic relationships all drain your energy. On the other hand, healthy habits, uplifting content, and supportive people can recharge you. Pay attention to how different things affect you and make choices that support your well-being. Another important aspect of managing your energy and focus is rest. A lot of people think that being busy all the time is a sign of productivity, but that's not true. Rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. If you don't take time to recharge, you'll burn out. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, taking breaks, and allowing yourself time to relax and unwind. When you're well rested, you'll have more energy and a sharper focus. Finally, remember that taking responsibility for your energy and focus is an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and forget about. It's a daily commitment to checking in with yourself, adjusting your habits, and making choices that align with your goals. There will be days when you slip up, and that's okay. The important thing is to get back on track and keep moving forward. When you take ownership of your energy and focus, you take ownership of your life. You become the driver, not the passenger, and that's when real change begins. The challenges we face in life can be overwhelming, and sometimes they make us want to stop, give up, or retreat into our comfort zones. But the truth is, it's in those challenges that we find the strength to grow, transform, and succeed. Overcoming difficulties isn't just about enduring tough times. It's about rising to the occasion, even when it feels impossible. Persistence is the bridge between the life you're living now and the life you want to create. It's what keeps you moving forward when everything in you is screaming to quit. Persistence is not about avoiding failure. It's about refusing to let failure define you. Every successful person has failed. Some of them have failed more times than they can count. The difference between them and the people who give up is simple. They kept going. They looked at failure not as the end, but as part of the process. They understood that failure is just a lesson in disguise, a chance to learn, adapt, and try again. When you shift your mindset to see challenges as opportunities for growth, you become unstoppable. It's not about being fearless, it's about acting in spite of fear. I'll share a personal story. Early in my career, there was a time when nothing seemed to be working out for me. Every opportunity I went after seemed to end in rejection. It felt like the world was telling me, "This isn't for you." I was frustrated, discouraged, and honestly, I thought about giving up. But then I had a moment of clarity. I realized that giving up wasn't going to solve anything. If I stopped trying, I'd be stuck exactly where I was. And that was a place I didn't want to be. So I made a decision. I would keep pushing, no matter what. I would keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep believing in myself. Eventually, doors started to open. It wasn't immediate and it wasn't easy, but persistence paid off. And it wasn't just about achieving my goals. It was about proving to myself that I could. Persistence requires resilience, and resilience is a skill you build by facing adversity head on. Life will test you. It will throw obstacles in your way and challenge you to see how much you really want something. But every time you push through those challenges, you get stronger. You build confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. It's like lifting weights. The first time you try to lift something heavy, it feels impossible. But the more you train, the stronger you get, and eventually you can lift what once seemed unthinkable. The same principle applies to persistence. The more you push through difficult situations, the more capable you become. One of the hardest parts of persistence is staying motivated when you don't see immediate results. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification. People want quick fixes and overnight success, but real progress takes time. It's easy to get discouraged when you're working hard and feel like nothing is changing. But what you don't see is the foundation you're building beneath the surface. Every effort you make, every step you take is contributing to something bigger. It's like planting a tree. At first, it seems like nothing is happening, but over time, with enough care and attention, that tree grows strong and tall. The same goes for your efforts. They may not yield visible results right away, but they are not wasted. It's also important to remember that persistence doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over if it's not working. Sometimes persistence means being willing to adapt, change your approach, and try something new. If one path is blocked, look for another. If one strategy isn't yielding results, experiment with a different one. Persistence is about being flexible, creative, and determined. It's about finding a way no matter what. The beauty of persistence is that it not only gets you closer to your goals, but also transforms you in the process. You become stronger, wiser, and more confident. You develop a sense of purpose and a belief in yourself that no one can take away. The challenges you overcome become the stories you tell, the lessons you share, and the foundation for a life of meaning and success. The journey isn't always easy, but it's worth it. Because when you persist, you're not just proving something to the world, you're proving something to yourself. And that's the greatest victory of all. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mindset, your attitude, and ultimately your success. You probably heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a catchy phrase, it's a powerful truth. The energy, beliefs, and habits of the people in your life influence you in ways you may not even realize. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and complacency, it's going to weigh you down. But if you're surrounded by positivity, ambition, and encouragement, you're much more likely to thrive. Now, this doesn't mean you should cut ties with everyone in your life who isn't as ambitious as you, but it does mean you should be intentional about the time and energy you invest in certain relationships. Ask yourself, are the people in my life helping me grow, or are they holding me back? Are they encouraging me to pursue my dreams, or are they filling my head with doubt? These are tough questions, but they're necessary if you want to create an environment that supports your success. It's also important to recognize the power of encouragement and accountability. When you're surrounded by people who believe in you, it gives you the courage to take risks, try new things, and keep going when things get tough. They remind you of your potential and keep you focused on your goals. At the same time, they won't let you settle for less than you're capable of. And that kind of accountability is invaluable. Think about the difference between spending time with someone who is constantly negative versus someone who is relentlessly positive. The negative person will drain your energy, leaving you feeling frustrated, uninspired, or even hopeless. They'll find reasons why things won't work, why you shouldn't try, or why it's better to play it safe. But the positive person, they'll energize you. They'll help you see possibilities instead of limitations, solutions instead of problems. They'll encourage you to dream bigger and work harder because they genuinely want to see you succeed. Those are the people who deserve a seat at your table. One of the most powerful things you can do is actively seek out relationships that inspire you. Look for mentors, friends, and colleagues who are already where you want to be or who are striving for the same goals. These people don't have to be perfect, but they should challenge you to grow. Spend time with them, learn from them, and let their energy and wisdom influence you. At the same time, be willing to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. It's not easy, and it doesn't mean you stop caring about those people, but if a relationship is toxic or consistently draining, it's okay to create distance for the sake of your well-being. Finally, remember that relationships are a two-way street. If you want to be surrounded by uplifting, supportive people, you need to be that person for others. Be the friend who encourages, the colleague who uplifts, and the family member who listens. When you bring positivity, kindness, and support to your relationships, you attract those qualities in return. It's not about being perfect, it's about showing up for others in the same way you want them to show up for you. The people you allow into your inner circle shape your world. They influence how you think, how you feel, and what you believe is possible. Choose wisely, invest in the relationships that matter, and create an environment where you and everyone around you can thrive. When you do that, you set yourself up for not just success, but a life filled with meaning, connection, and growth.